Gets away from Kante, plays down the line for Suarez. 98 team of the year, Suarez.
He's a big chance.
Ramos.
Suarez, what's he going to do? Tries to feed it back. Is that going to come to Ronaldo? Just trying to get a foot on that, maybe. Pull it now. The man that Bullock loves. Half turn there from Torres. Vieira back to Suarez on the finesse, and there we have it. The Bullock is in London. He turns around. He celebrates. The Bullock. He had a plan, and he's performed it.
You're listening to the FUT Champions podcast with Richard and Brandon. What's going on? Welcome back to a brand new FUT Champions podcast, episode number 14 we're on now. We're back for another week. We're back to wrap up the world of competitive FIFA once again, all across FUT Champions, Gfinity, starting this week, or would have started actually by the time this podcast has come out. But as always, that man next to me, Richard Buckley, we're back for another week, mate. And more importantly, when this comes out, we would have done our first Gfinity Elite Series debut, you could say.
Yeah, week one will have been finished on the Gfinity Elite Series, and I'm back to full fitness, Brandon, just for the Elite Series. I had a cold. I'm over it now. It lasted probably about 2 weeks, but now the content will resume with a full fit, 100% fitness Richard Buckley.
And before we jump into this week's podcast, it's also important to remember that Colin unfortunately can't be with us this week. He's got a massive week ahead of the Gfinity Elite Series kicking off. Remember, he looks after Street Fighter, Rocket League, and of course FIFA now. So he's got to look after all those players, make sure they're all turning up in time and playing their best this Friday. So we wish Fnatic, Roma all the best there. And as always, we do have a top 100 pro, and we've actually got a very talented Polish player with us today. A player that, at this moment in time, touch wood, he's having probably one of the best years in FIFA he's probably ever had. He was in Barcelona. He's just qualified for the event in April, and now he will be competing in Gfinity, or he would have just competed over the last week. Welcome to the show, Damie.
Hey guys, thank you for the invite. Happy to be here on podcast.
And it's good to have you in here, mate. Obviously, if people don't know him, his gamer tag Damie Hulk. Damie Hulk. Apologies if there's any Polish fans watching on my pronunciation, but you know, first of all, let's cut to the chase. Damie, you know, what a superb year of FIFA you've had so far. Talk me through it. You know, how's it been for you?
It's been great, honestly. I didn't expect that really, because in FIFA 17 I was known in Poland, but internationally I was really struggling to get on this high level. And this FIFA, everything starts in November, when I played great in first qualification month. I qualified, I would say, easily for Barcelona as in the fourth place in the world, so it was pretty nice. And yeah, now I qualified for the second in Manchester, and let's see.
And talk me through that qualifying month in November, going back to last year. You finished fourth. What do you think went well for you? What clicked in that qualifying month?
I think everything, really. If I remember correctly, we had a patch like 1 week before qualification month. And after that, I really played great, you know. Even though I didn't have like the best team, because I didn't even have CR7 in my team. But I just keep on playing on my schedule, and everything went my way, really.
And to give a kind of hindsight or an insight, sorry, for anyone out there, you know, how many hours are you putting into FIFA? I know. Obviously, it might change now, or it could be even more, you know, because we're in the Gfinity cycle as well. Are you know, a lot of guys some pros will literally just play weekend league and maybe a few games of seasons in the week. Are you playing the game every single day?
It really depends, because now, when I already qualified for tournament, I play a lot. I played every day. I'm trying to play friendlies against the pros. But in qualification month, I just play weekend league, honestly, because I feel like I'm a bit tired when I play every day. I just want to be fresh and focus only on weekend league.
And you know, you said about November, you had a superb qualifying month there. You finished fourth in the world. February was a little bit different for you. You know, you finished 56th, I believe, overall. What was different there for you? Did you just feel like February was just so much more competitive for you, or was it, you know, you kind of had Gfinity as well that you wanted to worry about, or what was different for you in last month?
First of all, it was the patch, because I think 2 days before qualification month, EA released the patch, and I think like most of the pro players, if not all, they didn't like it. You know, it was really hard to get used to it. They made games slower, more like sluggish, unresponsive, I would say. But overall, it was a really intense month for me, because I had many qualification tournaments, not only qualification month, but for, I don't know if I pronounce correctly, but V4 Esports Festival. It's only for 4 countries, and Poland is one of them, so I tried to qualify there. Unfortunately, I didn't make it. Yeah, I didn't feel fresh in weekend leagues, and I had really like a lot of stupid losses because of that.
And you did compete in that Barcelona event. Talk me through that event. What was your experience like there?
It was great. I mean, we all know that it wasn't the best, because like the first day we just played 2 rounds, but overall it was great experience for me. I played a lot of good players. I even beat Shells, so I'm really happy about that.
And obviously Gfinity is coming up, and you know, you were drafted in there. You had a really good, you could say, Challenger Series. Obviously, if you didn't know, the Challenger Series is the online qualification for the players to play the online tournaments. You know, FIFA was Monday to Thursday. Obviously, each night would be worth more points. There was the Contender Cups and the Competitor Cups, which were worth a lot more points, and you could win some cash prizes as well. You know, did you play every single tournament that like Monday to Thursday, or was you just playing, you know, the ones with the big points like a Thursday?
I played almost all the cups. I think I missed 2 cups because of the tournament in Barcelona, but otherwise I played every single one. But I just played because I wanted to try every formation just before the tournament, every custom tactics I made. Yeah, that's it.
With the Gfinity, you did get picked up by Nordavind. Talk me through that. What was that experience like?
It was great. I didn't expect to be first pick, to be honest. I knew I will get picked because I talked with some organizations before. But yeah, first pick was like a really honor for me. So I'm really happy that they choose me, and I'm really happy to sign for them.
And I know that in Poland at the moment, you know, you've got Liga Warsaw. To play for a football club down the line, would that be something you might aspire to, or?
I don't know, because we have many clubs in Poland that are involved in FIFA, but they're choosing the players that had achievements in like 5 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't really know why they are doing it, but it's like they are choosing, right? It's not my business, so it's really hard to get really involved in Polish scene.
And what's that Polish scene like over there? Is it thriving? Is it growing? Have you seen any growth in the esports over in Poland?
Yeah, I think we have many really good players in Poland, but the main thing is that any of them like want to go international, you know. I'm trying to, like in Gfinity Elite Series now, I'm signed for international roster, international organization, and I really want to like make my name internationally as well. It's not enough for me to just be known or famous in Poland, and that's the main problem in Polish players, I think.
So do you think that it's maybe a common theme for a lot of Polish players to maybe be like, you know, I want to be big in Poland, but internationally I don't really want to be known, or is it just something that maybe that's really important to you?
It's important for me, but the main thing is that many Polish players have fan pages on Facebook, and Facebook is really popular in Poland, but internationally Twitter is the most famous site, you know.
Mm.
And many Polish players don't even have Twitter accounts, so it's really hard to get through, to get famous internationally for them.
And where did this motivation and drive come from to become internationally? Was it something that you've seen over the years that other FIFA players can do, and you can make a brand behind your FIFA ability, or was it something that's only come recently with the success you've had in FIFA 18, where you want to almost grow as a product?
I don't really know. I think it's just me, you know. It's just my character, and that's it. I wanted to be different than Polish players. I wanted to sign for any other team, make my name internationally, and show that Polish scene is really big, and you can find a lot of good players here. Sorry.
Because there is a handful of really talented Polish players. Some were in Barcelona, some have qualified for this next event, and it's safe to say that at times you can. There's so many nationalities now in the competitive FIFA world that might not get all the limelight that they deserve. And for example, Dami, you're a really big name at the moment in the FIFA scene. You were in Barcelona, you didn't have maybe the tournament you wanted to there, but you've signed for Nordavind, who's a massive organisation as well that have just jumped into FIFA. For you personally, was this, for this year in general, was this more than you would have ever expected, or?
Yeah, it is actually, because I knew that I'm gonna improve over this year, but it's a massive improvement, just to be an elite player or one of the best players in Poland, to actually qualify for 2 major events internationally. So it's really massive step forward for me, and I hope it can continue and I can be even better than now.
And linking into that, talk to me about FIFA 18 then. When you, after the launch of FUT Champions last year and the push that EA have really made into esports, how was FIFA 17 for you? Was you trying to compete in FUT Champions still, but never really had the success, or was you one step off the mark, or how was FIFA 17? And did you feel like, right, I need to come into FIFA 18 with a bang? And talk to me about how you approached FIFA 18. Did you, when the game started, was you playing draft? Was you putting FIFA points on to play draft continuously, or was you playing other ways?
So at the start in FIFA 17, I was actually grinding FUT Champions, but at the start I was only Gold 1 player. So I made a long road to be top 100 player. It was really hard for me, but I really enjoyed the game. I really wanted to improve. I had the motivation to do it, and that's the most important thing. In FIFA 18, I've put some money. I bought 22k FIFA points. I played a lot of drafts at the start. I played 6-7 hours every day, or maybe even more. So I really put hours into it. But still, I don't really have a good team, so I'm not happy about it. But it's it doesn't matter right now.
So last year you said you were Gold 1. This year you're one of the best in the world. What's been some of the small changes in game that you've changed to make yourself better?
It's just about experience, I think. I watched a lot of streams, like Gorilla stream or Boras Legend videos on YouTube, and just watch what they are doing that I can't, and game by game, month by month, I just improved. I always like to analyze my game. I watched every replay, I watched my stream again. So I think that's it. That's the thing.
And do you think it's a key thing that for players that are maybe less entitled to do this? Do you think you need to go back? You need to watch back your gameplay. You need to think, right, I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing that right. And Boras Legend, a prime example of a guy that has been seen upon as this guy of tutorials now, not just a pro player, and he's done exceptionally well on that. And the amount of people that play the game casually that watch Boras and learn from him is massive as well. But for you personally, is that a must? You need to go back and you need to look back on your gameplay?
Yeah, it helps a lot, to be honest. Because if you are in the game and you think you lost because EA didn't EA trolled you or something, but when you just actually watch back the game, you can see your mistakes. You can see, like, you can make other pass, or maybe you shoot other direction, choose other type of the shot. Maybe you can see many different things when you watch back. So it really helps a lot. I recommend everyone to do it.
And let's jump into the game now. Talk to me about some of the standout players in your last qualifying month. What formation were you using? Do you change formation in game, etc.?
I used narrow formation 4-1-2-1-2. I really like it. I played against Testotrier, unfortunately, in one of my games. I lost to him. He was top 8 in Barcelona, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
It was really hard month. I played a lot of Elite 1 players, top 100 players. So I think the patch changed it, you know. Matchmaking was really hard after the patch, so it was really a lot of harder to qualify for the second season.
And the way you play as well, you know, what for you personally, you know, you said you enjoy the narrow formations. Is that, I felt like that's really coming from FIFA 17. Really, the narrow formations really started at the, you know, the competitive level. And you know, you see a few changes now. 4-2-3-1 comes out occasionally for a number of pros. So you have the 2 CDMs just sitting there to support the back line. You know, what is it about the narrow formation that you really enjoy playing with?
Narrow formation is all about attack, I think. I really like offensive play style. I love to score a lot of goals in my games, and because of that, I'm lacking in my defense. Because especially now in FIFA 18, if you don't have wingers to help out in the defense, it's really hard to get the ball back. So you need to be ready for that, that your opponent will just play possession all the time on the wings, and you need to be focused like every minute. So I think in FIFA 17 was actually easier to play narrow than it is now, but I still like it.
And what would you break your gameplay down as, if you were going to talk me through how you approach a game?
I really like to keep the ball, even though I'm playing narrow. I think I can do it really good. A lot of quick passes. I really like dribbling, but now it's a lot harder because after like 3 or 4 patches, it's getting harder and harder to dribble because AI are stronger. So I need to find the other way, and that is quick passing.
And for you, you know, let's talk into that ultimate scene now. Obviously, it would have changed since the game would have started, and you know, you can get the rewards from the weekend league, your monthly rewards as well from FUT Champions. Who's some of your favourite players to use in the game? Who's, for example, give me your top 3 icons that you would love to use, and you know, your top 3 normal players, you could say.
Oh, it's really hard. I mean, obviously, Gfinity and Vieira as an icons. They are like so good and everything, really. They can intercept the ball, they can shoot, they can score a header, they can do basically everything.
Are they like the, you know, Richard uses a lot, like the meta players? If, or maybe not the meta players, for example, but if you had the money, they're a meta player example. But are they, for example, Hullet? We saw him so much last year. Vieira as well. Are these players just a must? If you can afford them, they need to be in your team.
Yeah, they are the most, definitely. Even I'm using 86 Hullet and 88 Vieira, so they are not the best versions, but still they are a must, and they are the core of my team for sure.
And going forward, who's the standout players for you?
CR7, definitely. Even the normal version, he's just a game changer. Even if you have a bad game, you can create anything. You will get that one bounce or one long shot with him and score the goal.
But at the Barcelona event, did you change your team because of the unlocked accounts that you had? Did R9 come in?
Yeah, I changed a lot because my team, like on my account, it's really bad compared to the other pros. I can't afford likes of R9 or Team of the Year Messi, Team of the Year Ronaldo. So I think I changed 8 out of 11 players, so it's a lot actually.
That's a massive change, especially when a lot of players, for example, DH Tex again, we can leave that to him. He is a completely different team than he used. Was that just a must for you? Because a lot of players that kind of could afford whatever team they wanted were thinking, you know, I'm not going to change my team. I'm happy to play the way I did with Weekend League. You know, going into that event in April, will you do the same thing again? Will you use all the players you can that weren't in your team for qualification? Is that just a must for you?
Yeah, I think it is, because you need to realize that at the event we played other version of FIFA as well. It's esports version. So even if you play like with your team on the esports version, I think it's different anyway. So just go get the best players that you can and try to play with them.
And speaking about some of the players that you've played against, who would you say some of the hardest players or the toughest opponents that you've faced in FIFA this year?
Actually, Agi, #Agi, beat me. He scored 8 goals in 2 legs, so it was a lot. He actually like smacked me, to be honest. I couldn't do anything. But I played against Shells as well. I actually won in extra time. I was really lucky there, but it was a really good game. I played against Dito. He won. He was a world champion in FIFA 17 as well, so I played some really big names.
How important would you say that training against pros coming into an event, playing best of threes against pros and sparring against people who are going to be at these events, how important is that?
It's super important. Like, you need to do this before tournament, otherwise you will just go and do 0-4 and get out of the tournament without any win. It's really important to get used to it, because most of the pros, defense, like, they play just much better than in seasons or FUT Champions. You need to practice against them to get used to it. I personally didn't play a lot of pros, and I regret it, to be honest, but still I think I played really good at the event. It was really close to make out of the groups.
And for people that, you know, are looking in the position at home and are going, you know, I would love to be at Gfinity, I would love to be competing at these massive events, other than, you know, just basically saying play FUT Champions, what advice could you give to casual players that want to take maybe the extra 5-10 wins a weekend and go to the next level? What kind of advice would you give them?
Always try to analyze every game, because on my streams a lot of people are laughing at me, because after every close game I play, I like to just check every replay I have after the game and analyze what I could do better, what I could do worse, you know, and just analyze it. And yeah, that's the most important thing, really.
That's really good to hear as well, because, you know, you said it already about you know, looking back at stuff and probably having a look to see where you've done right, where you've done wrong, and it seems to be a common occurrence, Richard, isn't it, in the pro scene, that number one, you've got to play against pros to get better. We talked about this last year as well. You know, people were saying, well, what if I play draft? What if I play online seasons? You know, between weekend league, you kind of have to play pros, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to spar against people at your level. I talk about it a lot of the times that you have to play against people who are going to make you better and are going to really bring the best out of you. That's when boxers go into big fights against big championship fights. They'll always try and spar against people at their level or even maybe better than them to really bring the best out of them. Very similar to FIFA, Brandon.
You know, what I wanted to ask you, Dammy, is, you know, how have you seen the last 2 to 3 years in FIFA? Because before, you know, EA decided to really get behind with the FUT Champions, you could say in the last 2 years it's really taken off FIFA as an esport.
Yeah, I think FUT Champions changed everything, because now it's easier to get people involved in this, because FUT Champions is in game, right? Before there were many tournaments, but on other sites, like, I don't know, Gfinity, for example, and people just didn't know it about those sites. Now it's just easier to get everyone involved to do it.
And at the same time as that as well, let's look at going forward to this April event. You've got Gfinity on the Friday. It's an 8-week process for the tournament there in the league format that it's in as well. What's your plan? Are you still going to be playing weekend league every single weekend? Are you still going to be playing as much as you can so you're prepared for that April event?
Yeah, I will just grind every day, I guess. Play a lot of pros and when weekend league, of course. Nothing really changed, It's just the addition, the Gfinity Elite Series, and it's really nice to get, really nice to play there.
Definitely. And do you think as well, on the same time as that it's good to see Gfinity come back into the FIFA scene, because they had a period when they were out of the FIFA scene for maybe 2 years. Play Like a Legend were the leading FIFA tournaments back then with FIFA Interactive World Cup, but now we've got this massive global series, and there's still a lot more events to come out of the woodwork, I'm sure we need to hear about. But is it nice to have something extra to play in between the big major events?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I really liked Gfinity Cups last year, even though it wasn't like Gfinity Series or something like that, but we had cups every day and you could actually play it for training and improve, Now it was just for Elite Series and it still was nice. Now we can play on the LAN event every week, so it's good. But I think every player really missed those cups on the site every day just to practice.
Mm.
And as they say, practice really does make perfect, and we'll go back to it again. I think that one of the biggest ways to improve is just playing against people in a competitive environment, whether it be Gfinity Cups, whether it be best of threes against other pros, where you can try and put yourself in the mindset that this is a competitive game. Not only is it the FIFA ability as well, but there's a mental side to FIFA as well, that you've got to be mentally strong to be able to prepare for these events, which is something that goes underlooked.
Definitely. And to just ask you one more question, Dammy, is, for example, Gfinity, the Challenger Series tournaments were a straight knockout. How was your mindset? Because obviously weekend leagues are 40-game structure over the weekend. The Gfinity tournaments was just single knockout, and then when you get later onto the latter stages of the cups online, there was 2 legs. How was your approach in each game? Was you just playing like this is, because I think we had I think it was Timox that was on from Germany a few weeks ago, and he said you've got to play, even on a weekend league on Gfinity, you've got to play every single game of FIFA like it's your last. Is that something you agree with?
You've got to play every game like you're 39-0.
Yeah, definitely I agree. I don't like it because best of ones are really random anyway, even if you focus on every game, etc. But it's still random, But that's how it is. You really need to focus. You don't have a time like to chill or something. You need to play every game like it's last for you.
And exactly that, and it is a common thing in a lot of tournaments nowadays, that it is a kind of single elimination bracket there. But this kind of wraps up the podcast for this week, Richard. Obviously, again, we've brought in another pro from Poland this time. The Polish scene, which is actually really thriving, and there's a number of top quality players in that scene.
Yeah, we've gone back to what the podcast was built on, Brandon. Unfortunately, Colin was unable to join us this week. I imagine he's very, very busy on the road to Gfinity this Friday, where his Fnatic roster will be in action. But the show must go on, and very pleased with this week's podcast with Damie from Poland.
We are indeed, and Damie Hulk, thank you ever so much for coming on, mate. First of all, superb effort this year in Barcelona, to be in the top 128 players, to be in the top 64 on the PlayStation side, to qualify and be representing an organisation in Nordavind in Gfinity is huge as well, and then to top it off as well, you're going to be in that April event. Can this year get any better for you?
Yeah, thank you guys. It was a pleasure to be here to talk with you. Yeah, I will definitely listen to it.
Thank you very much, Dammy, and I think that does wrap up episode 14 of the FUT Champs podcast. If you have enjoyed what you've listened to and you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening via our audio platforms as well, make sure you do follow us over there and subscribe for 3, 2. But that wraps up another podcast, another week of FIFA action. Good luck in your weekend leagues if you're playing it when this podcast comes out. And until next time, we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.
If you like what you're hearing, why not subscribe? Just go to @FUT Champions Pod on Twitter, drop a follow, and then you'll find all your subscription options in the pinned tweet. Oh, and also, while I've got you, why not check out this podcast, More Casual Older Brother, the FUT Weekly podcast, for in-depth reviews, Team of the Week rundown, content chat, and general FUT discussion.